Um, I feel good about where we're at. Last week when I spoke to you, I said I thought we got out of the scrimmage unscathed, and that didn't really happen. There was a few things that popped up on us after that. Two guys that'll have some significant time missed that were important to us. But other than that, just bumps and bruises, few days. Some guys that missed a little bit of time this week. With this scrimmage, we did a lot of work with the younger guys. We feel like there's some young talent that needs to just play football, and we did that and got the ones some good work as well. In particular, I think we had, I don't know, Susan or Tony may know, but I want to say a 12 or 13 play drive that was good just to get the wind of both sides and used to a long drive. I'm not sure it would have been that way, but I let a couple penalties go and such and just wanted to get them some reps. So that was good, and then we worked some good situational work with the ones. And then the twos and threes just got a lot of just plays, let them play ball. So I feel like we're getting some good work. As I mentioned a week ago, it's kind of nice to get done with the second scrimmage. Normally we break camp right now, and school normally starts on Monday. It starts a week later this year. I like that. I feel like it gives us more time for walkthroughs, meetings, lets the players get a little rest. So we need to take advantage of that. So overall, we're in pretty good shape today. I think we came out of this one, until I get the report, I never know, but it looks like we came out of this one pretty clean, pretty healthy, which was important. You start adding them all up, what you lose in spring ball, what you lose in the summer, what you lose in scrimmage, and we can't afford that. And so I feel like we're in pretty good shape with being able to play physical, get reps, get a lot of volume. So I feel like we're in pretty good position right now.
Mark, who's it like getting plays in with the helmet comps? And
Yeah.
Is that kind of worked out the bugs on that?
We really like it. I'm listening the entire time to Coach Hamden and the quarterbacks, and it's interesting. It's nice. It's smoother. They're able to talk with them. They're able to communicate. They're able to tell them what to look for. Hey, don't forget the motion. Make sure different, just anything, and even checks or reads. And the pitcher can certainly change. The players still have to just go play to what they're coached to do, but it's nice. I think everybody likes it to this point, and it's the same advantage for everybody. But it's been smooth. I think the key is to, I think it also helps us with the things that I've talked about all off season about just trying to get in a rhythm and get some plays and get to the line and get going. That certainly helps. So hopefully it'll be smooth when we open. But, thus far we've practiced a bunch. We've used it a lot, all spring, really every practice in certain periods. We've used it in every practice here. We've used it in, Tuesday, I think we went out there Tuesday night and tried to use it as a scrimmage-like situation where everybody off the field and complete communication and subs and all that stuff. And so we've worked it a bunch. It seems to be helpful, but it's going to be helpful for everybody.
How does it work for defense? We talk a lot about the offense and for the quarterback, but where do you see it?
It also helps the defense because it alerts them. It could be a certain situation. It helps us with subtle movements up front on things that we do, on where we shade guys, where we move things compared to the formation and what we think we're getting. It helps them remind them and essentially make some checks in that regard, even if they're subtle or big changes. We could completely audible out of a defense, or we could make subtle changes up front as far as where we're given some different movement calls and stunts, things of that nature, and alerts, just alerting them.
Mark, we chip out for a little while. Where do you stand at running back right now, you think?
Yeah, Demi has been really good, and Jamarion, he's got to push. He's got the talent. I think Jamarion's a guy that has some juice. He has some talents that, and he's getting more and more reps, and he just needs to be very consistent. We have a ton of confidence in Demi, and where he's at. And then the young guys are really good. You've heard us talking about them since the spring. So we'll be okay, and we got to get Chip back when we can.
obviously not too long away from the first game. How's Brock Vandergrift's progression so far?
Really good. I think, Coach Hamden was coming down from the press box, so I talked to the quarterbacks out there. And, as I told them all, I really feel good about them. And absolutely no knock to anybody that's been here before. But, as a group, the 4 guys that we have, I have so much confidence in. It's a really good group. And that's really helpful because, as you know, things have happened in the past, and as you know, with the portal, sometimes when you have guys, other guys leave, and it leaves you thin. And I feel like we're in a really good situation with the quarterback room. I really do, and I just told them that I have confidence in all of them. We don't want anybody to get hurt, but it lets you have the confidence to let the guys go play, and just go play the game. And we all know the game is physical, and things happen, and we don't want that to anybody. But I really do feel good about the depth. And
Mark,
I feel like all 4 guys could play. Sorry.
Sorry, Mark. Last year, penalties and discipline was sometimes an issue. How have you seen the players cope with playing clean this far into preseason?
It's I wouldn't say it's non-existent. You see it out there. I don't see it in any scrimmages, so that's been good in the game-like situations. But you get out there in camp, and guys get frustrated, they get hot, they're wore out, they're tired, and sometimes they lose their composure a little bit. And we address that. We talk about it on the field. We talk about it in our meetings. And we're not perfect. There's a fine line there. We have to play, with an edge and an attitude and a chip on your shoulder, but you have to be composed, and that's a fine line sometimes. But I haven't at all seen it be an issue. Have not seen it be an issue.
Mark, you've also talked to us through the years about pre-snap penalties. With the more tempo in your offense now, has that been an issue, or do you like what you see?
None today. I've seen a few. We got to still tinker with the offensive line, when guys go down and you move guys around and all that. That's always an issue, with a lot of teams. And I think, finding the right mixture of guys when players go down and what movements you make to get the 5 best on the field, and tinkering with center, tinkering with different, positions, should we get an injury, I think that's where you see, the inconsistency right now that we just got to keep on working on.
Back to the quarterbacks. Other than Cutter, I know Brock doesn't have a whole lot of playing experience, but he's been in a college system for 3 years. You've got experience there with guys. How much does that help just in the room, being able to process things, especially when you got a new offensive coordinator?
I think it helps a lot. I think it start with Coach Hamden, again, and just going back to the spring and the way he teaches, and Gavin's new this summer, but he's very organized, he's very calm, and he's very decisive, and he's a very good teacher. And I think that rubs off to those players, and I think the players, with you talked about Brock and his experience, you talked about Gavin. He probably has the most playing experience of any of them. You have Cutter, who came here in the spring, along with Bo, came back, and all 4 of them, I think they complement each other very much, and it's a really good room.
You mentioned some injuries from last week. Is there any specifics you can share on those? Or?
The only thing I'll say is you're going to find out, and I disclose a lot anyway. I'm pretty open with it when guys are going to be out for a significant amount of time, and Hardly will be out for a decent bit. I'm not sure how long it'll be. It'll be at least mid-season or more.
Have you seen anyone step up in the short time since then?
We got good depth at that position, but as I've mentioned before, I really believe in the guys we have. It's just total numbers. You can't start losing more, because then you're into a problem with capacity of practice. How much can they handle? Because I just mentioned we have 4 good quarterbacks that need reps. Well, you got to have guys that can function at a high level and help them out.
Last one.
What kind of jump do you expect to see Ty Bryant take this year?
He's a guy that really, he's kind of surprised. I don't know about surprised. I've been just so pleased with him from the start. Just so mature, the way he handled himself all of last year as a freshman, and the consistency, and being in Coach Boulware's special teams meeting, even from and early in it, as a freshman, the reliability that he has. So many guys can learn from him because he just puts his head down and he works and he gets better. And so he's a guy that I don't anticipate any kind of like sophomore slump or whatever you call it. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's a guy that's going to continue to get better with every rep because he just puts his head down. He's very reliable. He's a very good player. And he's done a really good job. I love the way he goes about his business.
Eli, are you, as an offensive line, are you guys where you want to be 2 weeks before the season starts?
I'd say we're off to a great start. I think we've had a really solid camp. We always strive to improve on different things. There's so many different situations you work on this late in camp that I think we're trying to iron out the details on. But no, I think we have a really talented group. I think this is one of the deeper offensive line rooms we've had in a long time. We brought in some key transfers, and we have some key guys coming back, as you all know. So I'm very excited with where we are. I'm happy with the work we've put in with Coach Wolf since he got here in the spring and the reps that we've been able to bank. And I'm very confident in this group going into the year.
Eli, there's a lot of talk of speeding up the offense. How is the offensive line as a whole kind of dealt with that faster pace offense so far?
Yeah, I think just the main thing is getting reps and getting into that. Today we have a 16-play drive, just getting into that game shape. That's not something you can do every day in practice, just for the wear and tear on guys playing football. So being able to have a 16-play drive where we're not huddling, working the tempo, working the operation, and working with Brock and all the different guys, I think is critical. That's why these scrimmages are so important. I think we're off to a really good start.
Eli, is there an area with working in all the new guys, what you guys coming into the line too, where you've seen that cohesion kind of really grow and start to gel?
Yeah, I think, it's all about just getting reps together. We have new guys transferring in, playing guard, playing tackle, and just getting those reps, working the chemistry and the communication, knowing how I relay calls them, they relay calls to the tackles, and tackles relay them to the tight end. That communication has to get all the way down. And then getting reps and just knowing how guys fit on different combination blocks, knowing what each guy's seeing. When he sees the linebacker peel, does he need to come off? Knowing when to stay on the block, understanding the angle of the play, and just that chemistry you need to work those combinations amongst all five guys. You just need reps at it. And I think we've done a really good job through summer OTAs, spring ball, and now through fall camp, really building that cohesion as a group. And I think it's just something that will continue to get better.
See, you've got Jalen and Gerald over there on one side, I think, new together, coming from different systems. Have you seen them make kind of that adjustment and get more comfortable with what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it speaks a lot to them. Gerald's coming. They're both very professional guys who came into a new place with new faces, new system, new coaches. There's a lot of new, even for me as well. So I just think the relationships that we've built and the camaraderie we have between those guys has been huge. I think they've done a really good job of coming in, gelling, and just asking how they can help and what they can do to help this team win. And I'm really glad we have those guys here.
Stoops had a lot of praise for the quarterback room this year. How has that chemistry been going with you, and what have you seen from them?
Yeah, it's just, again, it's kind of like just with the offensive line as well. It's just something you need reps at. All the different scenarios. When we're in 2 minute, how does Brock work his cadence, the timing between getting my calls in, him knowing that, getting everyone set, the motions, all that different stuff. So, again, it just comes with reps. And we really work hard on that during the summer OTAs and during camp and during our scrimmage today. But I think that quarterback room's really deep. It's probably the deepest we've had it in a long time. There's a lot of talent in that room, and we're doing our best to make Brock comfortable back there so he can play free.
Have you noticed a change in the game with the new helmet communication?
Not so much, other than just it aids in the speed of play. Coaches talked about getting more snaps in the game. I think it makes that system easier because offensive linemen, we don't have to spend our entire in-between plays looking off to the sideline for a signal. Brock's able to get a quick play into his headset and give that to us really quickly, so we don't have to leave the ball. Once that ball's set, we're all up on it, hearing the play, diagnosing the front, looking for defensive substitutions and getting our calls in. I think it just makes it streamlines all that.
You've been around some talented quarterbacks all year. How is Brock similar, different than some of the guys you've worked with?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to play center for 3 different quarterbacks who all play the game a different way and all bring different attributes in their own respective ways. You guys know Will was just a big, strong presence, a very strong leader, big runner. Devin was a nice guy who had great touch on the ball. He's a very different quarterback than Will, and Brock's his own guy. I think he brings some physicality, some running aspect, and I think he's working on growing that leadership role. I think this is his first time being that starting guy going into week 1, and I think he's done a good job of building on that role, growing as a leader, and building those relationships with the guys.
What have you seen from Jagger? You guys have been together a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from him in this camp?
I think one thing he's done a great job of this offseason is just really committing to knowing his playbook and putting on good weight. something I know just from talking to him that he's trying to work on is just that play strength, being able to anchor, move guys off the spot. And he's sitting at about like 315, 320 when camp started. So having that good, healthy weight on him with how athletic and how strong that he is, he's really made a concentrated effort to do that, to be a more powerful, stout football player. And so I'm really proud of him the way he's worked. And it's been fun seeing him grow from just as a freshman in high school when we first met him in 2021 to where he is now. I think he's a guy that is really committed to this process, has submitted to it, and he gives us everything he's got every day, and he's going to be a really good football player for years to come here and in his future.
What do you think one day two or scrimmage two this weekend?
I think we built off last scrimmage and that we all got better in a way. Every group, whether it's the ones, twos, or threes, I think we improved on something today, and that's the important part, with the season coming up.
Do you see anything that you might say is a weakness in Brock Vandegrift so far, or is he pretty solid, giving you guys a hard time?
No, he's solid. I say that because, he can either put the ball in the air or he's smart enough to use his legs, and when he uses his legs, he's going to get out. So I think Brock, he showed maturity throughout this camp. I'm excited for him to go out there and do his thing.
You guys go up against that the new offensive coordinator. Is the offense a lot different from what you've seen previously, or about the same? How would you describe it?
I would say, I don't know if I want to say a lot different, but I will say it is a difference. I said the tempo has gone up. I feel like we're getting more plays off, and like I said, I feel like there's some plays that, just leads to a lot more explosives than maybe we've had in the past. But like I said, it's a whole different flow out there this year. So I'm excited for them to go out there and show out.
We're about 2 weeks out from the season. How do you feel about your room as a whole?
Honestly, I feel like this corner room is the deepest room that we've had since I've been here. And I feel like we got guys that are young that can play right now. And then we also have that, experienced guys. I feel like I'm one of the old heads in the room now. So, it's just, I'm excited for this group. I think we're going to turn a lot of heads. And I think that we're hungry, all of us.
And then you talk about being one of the old heads. How have you kind of stepped into that leadership position so far this year?
Really being more vocal, really trying to help the younger guys, really try to help them stay on top of the little things, because that's what's important. The little things is what shows up in the games. And just keeping them focused, keeping them aware, I feel like it's going to take them a long way. And it also keeps myself on my P's and Q's because, nobody's perfect, but I'm excited for them, like I said, man. I'm excited for the groom. Then we're going to turn a lot of heads.
What have you seen from the wide receiver room? There's a lot of talk about the depth in that room. What do you like about that?
I think our receiver room is amazing. I truly love going against them every practice because depending on the receiver, I'm getting different looks, different type of players, and I just feel like they're all so explosive. They all can run deep, short, intermediate, and I think the DBs that we face are going to have a hard time going against the receivers.
You got a favorite matchup?
Honestly, I love going against J-Mac. Brings that veteran presence, brings a different type of, skill to the table. I love going against Barryon and Dane, Fredo, another guy I like going against. But that whole room, I feel like when I go against anyone in that room, I'm getting better at something.
Coaches have talked a lot about those safeties that you guys have on the back end, being able to do a whole lot of things and the versatility. What have you seen in that group?
I've seen a nice, healthy rotation of safeties that we can use. And, we go out there, we communicate with them, we're talking more on the field. So I just feel like we're getting closer as we get towards the end of camp and close to the season. But I just feel like that safety room is another room that's deep, and that's another room that's going to turn people's heads because, we've been working, been doing extra, so can't wait to show that.
Maxwell, you're on a lot of preseason teams, on a lot of lists. Do you pay any attention to that stuff, and what are your expectations for yourself this year?
Oh, yeah, I see it, definitely. I appreciate all of that, but that's great and all, but then again, I still have to go out there and play myself. So, honestly, it gives me motivation to go out there and continue to work because I know that it's parts of my game that I need to get better. So I feel like this entire summer I spent that, dialed in on specific techniques and specific details that, can take my game to the next level.
Is there one thing in particular that you've been working on?
I've been working on my press man. I've been working on, slowing down at the line, not always relying on my speed and athleticism, but becoming more technical.
We didn't see a whole lot of press man last season. Do you think that's something that'll change a little bit with the personnel you have now?
For sure. I think, this year we're going to be a little more aggressive, play a little more man. And at that point, it's just about us accepting that challenge. And I know that my room, we're up for that. I'm up for that. So let's bring it on.